from Techno India Group Public School, Shiliguri, and today we are going to learn long answer type questions of your chapter 11 Force and Pressure. So everyone kindly take out page number 210 of your awareness science book. So today we will do long answer type questions. In our last class we have done up to short answer type questions. Today we will do long answer type questions. So the first long answer type question is, that is question number 61 is, what is meant by a contact force? Explain with the help of an example. So what is contact force? The force acting on an object when it is in contact with it is called contact force. Okay, means a force which exert between two objects, the object which are in contact with each other is known as contact force. So contact force, as the name suggests, acts on a point of an object by direct contact. The contact may be continuous or sometimes momentary. Okay, it can be for some moment, and it can also be a continuous contact. So this is contact force. Now explain with the help of an example. So example, there are many examples. Pushing an object along the floor. This is an example of a continuous contact force. Here, continuously the direct force is put on the object to move it along the floor. So, to move it along the floor, a continuous contact force is acting. So, this is one of the example. Next question is, what is meant by a non-contact force? Explain with the help of an example. So, what is non-contact force? The force acting on an object without being in contact with it is called as non-contact force. So, an imaginary force can pull everything towards the Earth's surface. All the objects are pulled toward the Earth without any physical contact with the object and bodies. These are non-contact forces. And we know this force is known as gravitational force. So, for an example, again we can take one more example of electrostatic force. So, if you run a comb through your hair a few minutes and then hold the comb over small pieces of paper, they will get drawn to the comb. The force which acts on the pieces of paper is called electrostatic force. This is another type of force that can act from a distance. So, these are the example of non-contact forces. One more force is there which is non-contact force, that is magnetic force. Magnetic force is also a non-contact force. Now question number 62 is, define frictional force or friction. So friction is a force that opposes the motion of an object over the surface of other object. Means a opposing force. Opposing force is known as friction force. So explain why frictional force is said to be a contact force. Okay, this is why, because friction is caused due to the interlocking of irregularities present on the surface of two objects. Every object has some irregularities, and friction is caused due to the interlocking of these irregularities. So since the force of friction arises due to contact between the surfaces, it is said to be a contact force. So as we know, the friction arises only when the two objects are in contact with each other. So it is one of the contact force. Next question, explain why magnetic force is said to be a non-contact force. So a magnet can exert a force, that is attraction or repulsion, on another magnet or magnetic material without being in contact with it. Since the magnetic force can act from a distance, it is said to be a non-contact force. Okay, so as magnet can exert a force on another magnet or any another magnetic material from a distance, so it is a non-contact force. Next question, define pressure. What is the relation between pressure, force and area? State the units in which pressure is measured. So we know that pressure is defined as a measure of force acting on a unit area. It's a force acting on a unit area. So pressure is a derived unit. We know it has been derived, generally expressed according to the units of the equation. So pressure is equal to force by area. We know where P is, that is in abbreviation it is written as P is equal to F by A, where P is pressure, F is force and A is the area of the surface. Now pressure is often expressed in the unit of Pascal because it is the SI unit, and the other unit of pressure is Newton per meter square or kg meter per second square. So these are the units of pressure. Now next question, which is very important. Explain why school bags are provided with white straps to carry them. So we know the reason, we already have discussed it, but again we are going to discuss. A school bag has white strap made up of thick cloth so that the weight of the bag may fall over a large area of the shoulder of the child, producing less pressure on the shoulder. Now as the area increases, it will produce less pressure, we already know this. And due to less pressure, it is more comfortable to carry the heavy school bag. On the other hand, if the school bag has a strap made up of thin strings, then the weight of the school bag will fall over a small area of the shoulder. This will produce a large pressure on the shoulder of the child, and it will become very painful to carry the heavy school bag. Okay, so it will be very uncomfortable to carry the heavy school bag if the strap is thin, because a thin strap will exert more pressure on the person or on the child or on the student who is carrying it. Now the next question is, what is meant by atmospheric pressure? What is the cause of atmospheric pressure? So what is meant by atmospheric pressure? The pressure exerted by the atmosphere is called atmospheric pressure. The pressure which the atmosphere is exerting on us is known as atmospheric pressure. And we know that we are surrounded by a blanket of air. This air has mass and is attracted by the force of gravity. Before also I have told you, anything which is having a mass will have a force of attraction, that is force of gravity. So the pressure exerted by this air is the cause of atmospheric pressure. Now the air which is having a mass is exerting a force on us. Okay, and this force arises a pressure. So that pressure exerted by the air is called known as atmospheric pressure. Now next question, why are our bodies not crushed by the large pressure exerted by the atmosphere? So we know that our body is facing a huge atmospheric pressure, but then also we are not crushing under this atmospheric pressure. Why? Our bodies are not crushed by the large pressure exerted by the atmosphere because the pressure inside our body is equal to the pressure exerted by air. Our body is also having a pressure due to the flow of blood. Our body, from our interior also we contain air. That air also exerts a pressure, and because of this pressure which is inside our body, and the pressure is also there on or from outside, that is atmospheric pressure is on our body, this pressure are equal. This pressure are equal, and because of this only we are not crushing under the pressure of atmosphere. Means the pressure inside our body is equal to the pressure exerted by air on the outer surface of our body. Now these pressure are equal, so we are not crushing under the large pressure exerted by the atmosphere. Now the next question, explain why atmospheric pressure decreases as we go higher up above the Earth's surface. So as we know, the air molecules at lower altitudes are more compressed by gravity than the ones at the higher altitude. The air molecules which are present in the low altitudes, means at the ground level, are more compressed by the gravity than the ones that are on the higher altitude. The pressure level is highest right at the surface of the earth because the air at this level is supporting the weight of all the air above it. Okay, so all the air which are above it are exerting a force on the ground level. So the highest rate of pressure will be on the surface of ground. Okay, more weight means a great downward gravitational force. We know weight is nothing but a force. More weight means more force, and we know as the force increases, the pressure increases. So as we move up through levels of the atmosphere, the air has less air. The air has less air mass above it and gravity isn't strong enough to pull down the great number of particles. So as we move up, the air molecules decreases. And as the air molecule decreases, means the mass also decreases. And if the mass also decreases, means the weight also decreases. So as we move up to a higher altitude, the number of particles, the number of air particles decreases. Okay, so the gravity isn't strong because as the particles are less, means the gravity isn't strong. So we are on us, the force exerting on us is very less. So the balancing pressure decreases. As the force decreases, the pressure also decreases. So this is why atmospheric pressure drop as we rise in altitude, because there are less number of particles, so less number of force is applying on us. So if the force is less, then the pressure is also less compared to the ground level. On higher altitude, the force exerting on us by the molecules of air are less, so the pressure is also less. Now the last question of today's class: how does the pressure of a liquid depends on its depth? Draw a label diagram to show that the pressure of liquid, say water, depends on its depth. Okay, so as we know, all the liquid exerts pressure on the base or bottom and walls of their container. Means liquid exerts pressure in all the directions. Okay, all the liquid have weight. All the liquid, whatever liquid we are taking, liquid is a matter and liquid has weight. When we pour liquid into a vessel, then the weight of liquid pushes the base of the vessel, producing a pressure. As we know, liquid has a weight, so it exerts a pressure on the base. The liquid exerts pressure on the base of the vessel. Of course, it is going to exert a pressure on the base of the vessel. The pressure exerted by liquid changes with depth in the liquid. The pressure exerted by a liquid increases with increasing depth inside the liquid. The pressure exerted by a liquid is just small under the surface of a liquid. But as we go deeper in the liquid, the pressure exerted by the liquid increases. As the depth of liquid increases, the weight of liquid column pushing down the above increases, and hence the pressure also increases. So as we move in depth of a liquid, the weight exerting on us by the liquid will more. Means if weight is more, then the force is more, and if force is more, means pressure is more. So only the pressure of liquid decreases. Sorry, the pressure of liquid increases with increasing depth. Means at the top of the liquid column, the weight exerted by the liquid is very less, so the pressure is also very less. So as we move down, the weight of the liquid increases, and means weight is increasing, means force is increasing, and when force is increasing, the pressure is also increasing. So as we move in the depth, the weight increases, means the force increases, means the pressure also increases. And this is why the pressure in liquid depends upon the depth. So as we move down the depth, the pressure also increases. So the pressure exerted by liquid increases with increasing depth. Okay, next question. Explain why the walls of a dam are thicker near the bottom than at the top. Same reason, because at the bottom the pressure is more, means the force exerted by the water will be more, so the pressure will be more. A dam has thicker walls at the bottom than at the top because the force exerted are strongest close to the ground. So the force exerted will be strongest close to the ground. So water pressure increases proportionally with depth. Of course, as we go in depth, the water level also increases. Okay, and water level increases means the force exerted by water increases, and as the force increases, the pressure also increases. And when compared to the lower portion of the dam has greater water pressure exerted upon it. Okay, so when the lower portion of the dam will have a great water pressure exerted upon, the increasing thickness of the lower dam also helps in support its own weight. So the dam should support its own weight, and to do that also we make the walls of dam are made thicker. from the bottom, near the bottom. So with these questions, we have completed long answer type questions of chapter 11, force and pressure. In our next class, we will do multiple choice questions of chapter force and pressure. Thank you for joining the class.